Over here in the United Kingdom, we have a big, rich tapestry of wonderful history. And it's things that I like to share with you on this show, whether I find a water fountain or a plaque or a blue plaque. I think we're all fascinated in everybody's world history. There's no two ways about it. But if I went over to Australia, I would expect, say, to learn all about the Australian history. Likewise, if I went to the Philippines or Brazil, I'd want to know about your history. And in particular, if you have children that were attending school there, you would wish them to know that history, particularly if you're residing in that country for many years to come. Over here, of course, right now we have an Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson, who's decided that no, we need to wipe off a lot of our British history, particularly in schools, and this is how she plans to do it. Let me explain. Morning, good to see you. You're all right. Thank you so much. Did you like history at school? Some will have a lovely wave. Did you like history at school? I loved it. I mean, not everything, but I liked a lot of it. I was particularly interested in the Edwardian and Victorian era, and I think that's why I've liked, the royal family going further down in a career. I like the medieval times, the Tudor times. I was fascinated on how people lived and how they developed, and the people that came out of that era that literally carved their way in history. Whether that be, of course, a big name or simply the fact that they made their name in a small way, but then they've lived on, the sort of thing I mean? It's fascinating to learn that over here, apparently, 74% of school children have no idea who William Shakespeare is. Now, whether you're a fan of Shakespeare or not, and I have to be honest and say, I like his work, but it's not necessarily my cup of tea. I know a lot about him simply because he is a rich part of British life and should be remembered and respected. That's the thing. You learn about them, don't you? Whether it's Oliver Cromwell, Queen Victoria, it doesn't matter. These are the people like Winston Churchill that made Britain great. According to Bridget Phillipson, our latest Education Secretary, who's been in the job 10 minutes and has a rather sketchy CV, to say the best, she now wants all teachers across the United Kingdom to show more diversity. So basically what this means is move away from British history and show the inclusion of all of those mixed classes that are now infiltrating the British way of life. Now you can tap it up any way you want. That is the story. Now, a lot of parents have now come out against this already because this is Bridget, who apparently does not like private schools and has put a huge VAT sort of tax on them. Now, I didn't go to private schools, I'm sure you all know, but it's a choice, isn't it? If you can afford it and you want to send your child, you should have that prerogative. It's up to the parents on how they teach their children. But when you're in the class of school, I would never have expected to learn about the other person's culture who's just come in, literally, either illegally or been here a few years. I wanted to learn about my own. And that's exactly, I have to say, I'm from the generation that did. Now, according to Bridget Phillipson, if schools don't take this on board, they will send in secret people to make sure and test the teachers, and they could be reprimanded if they're not doing this. Now, I'll throw it open to you because obviously our chums, our friendship group, I'd love to know what you think about this because, as I said, I'm all for learning about other people's history, but you start with your own if you're educated in this country. Why wipe out such a rich tapestry of everything that we've achieved simply to tick a woke box? And this is time and time again what's happening with the people in power. And it's down to one thing, basically. They believe that they will go home and tell their parents, oh, they're telling us all about us. And that they think then will lead to votes. It's not about you. It's not about what your children could learn. It's simply about themselves keeping in a position of power and creaming in the money while the rest of us struggle by. You know what I'm saying? Neil Sean, Kensington, London.